Hi everyone, welcome to another series episode of DataTechTalk. Today I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Georgette and she is the Corporate Data Governance Manager from ASML. Hi Georgette, how are you today?
Hi, Shama. I'm doing very well actually. So thank you. Thank you also for inviting me for this interview.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. It's so great to have you here. I've heard so much about you, and I've recently also seen one of your webinars as well, where you were talking, and I was really interested for you to be on my show today. So I just wanted to kind of start with a little bit of background information about you in terms of how did you manage to get into the data governance career? That would be very interesting to know.
Thank you. So actually, my career started in data around 7 years ago. Before that, actually, I was working in sales and lean consulting, so in two big companies. And actually, because I gathered a lot of experience from the sales and supply chain processes, but also from a bit of marketing and communications. Meanwhile, actually, enterprise information management stood up more and more. And they invited me to join them in my previous company because they thought if you have that knowledge from the primary business processes, then you can use that, of course, very well in the data scene. So that's actually how I started my journey in sales and ended up in information management, data management.
Oh, that's really exciting. And yeah, it's a very sort of an unusual curve going from sales to data governance area, like specifically in data management as well. So, some people view this data governance career as a very unusual career choice. And, I was really wondering, like, in your domain, how many people have you seen who have originally started from sales and consulting and that sort of situation to becoming a data management program lead, for example?
Yeah, so actually in general, you see a combination of two main DNAs, I would call it. So on the one hand, the more business-driven people with a background either in supply chain management or sales or finance, and on the other hand, the people with a more technical background, or I would say more information technology background, or even sometimes, of course, data science or data business intelligence background. So the combination of both is actually very interesting. And to answer your question, is that I see that getting more and more important. So it's less about the technical skills than it was before. It's more about how to get the combination of management and the technical skills. So
Yeah, no.
I see it more and more actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually something I've noticed as well. And quite often, what I see is it's also a lot to do with change management as well, because when you are transforming the way people deal with data, and if you are getting more sort of ownership for all the data that exists in your organization, what we also see is, people by nature, they're reluctant to change. And sometimes I've noticed that a lot of the change management process actually amplify the data management program as well. So in your career, and you have had an amazing career, and started with sales and then went on to competency manager and global master data related programs as well, and then data governance lead. In your view, like what are some of the most challenging situations you've faced, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I like this question very much, Shama, because it's really about the people, right? The people involved. So what I can maybe best to answer this question is to give you an example of a situation I was once in, which was about the perception of data governance with the business, but also, yeah, it was mainly with the business, but there were also people sitting on the table with an information technology background. But if you talk about change management, then the question I got when I was a program lead was, yeah, but Georgette, but when is this program finished? This data governance program, when is it finished? What is the end date? And then I told them that from the change management perspective, there is no end date. And then, you know, they got shocked, like, yeah, but you are a program lead, there should be an end date. It's a program. A program has an end, you know, but no, data governance has no ending. It's a matter of living, thinking, applying. You know, this is the same like this is about change, and people need to get used to treat data in a certain way. And then I told them, you know, data governance is actually the same as customer satisfaction. You always want to strive for a better, improved service to your customer, don't you? And then they all said, yes, of course we want. I said that that's the same with data governance. You know, it's alive. It should stay alive. So this is how change management plays a very important role in how people perceive data and how you treat data and what you can do with data.
I love that analogy. It's alive. You know, the program is alive. It's there. It's not a project with a beginning and an end date. It's a program. That's great. In your experiences, have you had situations where you had to kind of handle organizational conflicts? So one group is pushing their agenda and the other group is pushing their agenda, and it's under the same data management domain.
Yeah. So the nice thing about data is that with data you bring people together, right? Because in the end it's not about the data itself, it's about the information that can help people to make either a best possible decision or steer on that process or making sure they are compliant. So in terms of how to handle conflicts of interests, I would say that the benefit management, the earlier experiences, building the reputation, doing the change management, there are many factors that play a role in making sure that you handle these conflicts. So actually, how I normally started with my team is that when we bring these people together from different businesses with different conflicts of interest, we always start with the observation. Okay, what do we see, right? What do you recognize that? Yes, I do. Okay. And then what is from a data management team perspective? How do we feel about it, right? What do we think we can do better for the company? And then it's also important to know that in the business architecture, you start with a process. You have your data, and then you have your applications. And a lot of people don't even know this, right? They think that the system is the failure, or they think that the data is wrong. But in the end, it's process, data, and then the application. So sharing the observation, sharing the feeling, trying to be open, bring everything to the business architecture, and then create the win-win situation. So this is an order of steps we usually apply to make sure that people are focused on what is the real problem for the company or for our customer or for our supplier. And that's what counts.
Yeah, that's great. So just as a follow-up question, what do you think is actually good benchmarks to monitor in any data governance program?
So for me, success criteria is always if the people involved in the program or standing organization you're working with, if they can explain what data governance is, I think that's a real success criteria. Then the change management work, then the whole concept of aspects that come along with data governance work. So if people can explain what it is, why it is important for the company, for a customer, for a supplier, then that's really for me a success criteria.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. And I've also seen in my recent experience that because of the COVID situation, a lot of these programs are getting less and less, priority in the organization sometimes, and sometimes even more priority depending on the industry you're in. But from what you have heard from the industry, how do you think this may affect different organizations organizations and programs? And what do you think the industry will look like in the future, in near future as well, given the situation is not going away anytime soon?
Yes, of course. So unfortunate we are in this situation, but I think that despite the fact that COVID-19 is all about keeping distance, right? And data is all about bringing together information, which is the base for communication then again. So in order to be able to keep distance, communication and information itself and the ways how, so think in terms of quality of that communication, to communicate is getting more and more important. So there also again, data comes in the picture. A corona crisis will not increase the importance of data, only the speed and of understanding, change and adoption that data is important.
So what I was wondering is, given the COVID situation, a lot of people had been let go from different organizations. In your view, have you seen a lot more people let go from roles in the data management domain, or more so from other roles? And why do you think that's the case?
Yeah, so in the environment I'm working in ASML, we look in the future. We're an innovative company. We try, of course, to forecast how the world will develop also after the corona crisis. And we all know that data governance and data management is something you build through the years. It's not something that is done within a year. So knowing this, knowing that we will survive as a world, the corona crisis, we will get there again at a point where we be in, let's say, a new normal track. We also know that we will need these people involved again. And therefore, actually, the phenomenon you just described is not familiar to me in my environment, because we know that we build on this journey, we know that we build on this roadmap we have, and we want to be sustainable in that.
Thanks for that. And do you have any advice for people who are looking for data management roles in this current situation?
Yeah, so advice for people that are looking for a role currently. So maybe we could also say that we could turn it around, right? We say that COVID brings a lot of unpleasant news facts, as we currently know, right? And of course, people are endangered by safety and health issues. But maybe there is a point for the people involved in data management where they can help, right? Either by analysis, either by research, either by business intelligence. So I would definitely use it as an opportunity to say, okay, I have a talent. I'm very good at data science, or I'm a very good analyst. So let me help you as a company in either healthcare or semiconductor or high tech to together make sure that we get over this. So there's a lot of opportunity in things that threaten us, and that's something that you could definitely see if you're in data.
That's great, and thank you so much. I just have one last question before we finish. I was wondering, from all the amazing experiences that you had, do you have a memorable experience in the data governance domain, either humorous or a little bit challenging but really well, that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I think that actually one of my experiences which I liked very much was in the automotive industry, and it was about customer satisfaction. So the company I was working for, which is a big brand in the automotive industry, they were actually having some sort of match who was the best automotive dealer in the Netherlands. And to do so, you need data regarding customer satisfaction. So, right, questionnaires, for example. But how do you reach these people, right? So you can do that by phone, doing the interview, but hey, there's also something like email. And the company never realized itself that data was so important, because you could never reach out to a customer when you only had this address, right? No phone numbers, no emails, nothing. how to then compete in this contest. So then I was sitting and thinking, and I told them, hey, we need to gather data. We need to gather data. What kind of data? Email address. We need to communicate with our customer. This is very basic, but back then, I'm talking about 2010, 2009, 2010. It was really hilarious to see that data was getting more and more important, and also how to communicate with the customer and get that information from the customer in, making a short way on having this data in. We did that, and in the end, of course, because we were a great company, we won also that contest. But it was one of my first experiences in what data can do for a company, and that's why I'm sharing it now with you. Data is always there everywhere, but people often just don't see the importance of it.
Georgette, thank you so much. Thank you for that lovely story. And with that, we have come to the end of this episode. I'd like to thank you once again for your time. I know you're an extremely busy person, and if I have people reaching out to me who want to get in touch with you, I will definitely let you know as well. For those of you who are watching, please join us. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll post the link here. And if you have an amazing data leader who you want to be interviewed and be part of the Data Tech Talk, please let me know. Tag them below, comment below, and subscribe. Bye.